Hi, I'm Sherry from Heirlooms Quilt Shop in St. Francisville, Louisiana, and I would just like to show you real quickly how I like to do my paper piecing. There are a few products that to me are necessary to make it easier. The first one that I really like to use is the Clover Hera, and what that does is creases my paper and it makes it easier to fold it back and then to cut. I use the add-on ruler, which comes in several sizes. The 12-inch or the 6-inch, and the pink one benefits the Breast Cancer Society. What that product does is once you've folded back your paper, then you can just abut the edge of this ruler up to the paper and cut it, and it gives you an automatic add-on 1/4 of an inch for your seam allowance. And finally, I like the seam roller, and what this does is once I get the material sewn on and folded over correctly, then I can use that to press it rather than getting up and going to the iron. So let me show you a little bit about how I do those and use those products. I have here a square that's going to end up to be a 1/4 square block. And when you're doing paper piecing, you have to think a little bit backwards. So I've cut a couple of pieces of fabric. And you always have to oversize cut because of the folds of your fabric. So what I'm going to do is put the white, which will be this section right here, and I'm going to put it on the back side. And this is going to be the one that I will pin this one to keep that in place. Next, I take my hera and my ruler, my add a 1/4 ruler. Well, I use this side here, and I mark it for my crease right on that solid line. Now that line is going to be your stitching line. I fold my paper back, and on the lip of that ruler, we're just going to slide it right up to that fabric or to that paper and cut that away. Then you're ready to add your fabric for the number 2 piece, and you have your seam allowance that you can just add that right onto. So I'm going to add my black stripe section here, which will be here. I'm going to place that right sides together on the paper, and I'm going to stitch that. Now when you're sewing on paper foundation, you want your stitch to be as small as you can get it. That will help when you go to tear away the paper. It'll make a nice part for you to tear away. I do like to take a little back stitch at the beginning, and then I'm going to stitch on that solid line. My machine wants to talk to me today. Up to the point where it meets, and then I'm going to back stitch. Then when I fold my number 2 piece over, this is where I use my roller seam and just press that open. So again, now we're going to take the hera and the ruler and lay it down on that solid line, and I'm going to score it so it folds over easily. Fold my paper back, put that ruler right on that lip of that paper, trim that away, and then I have an area to put my next piece for the number 3. So we're going to put those right sides together and stitch on that solid line again. using your smallest stitch. And back stitch. Now there are a lot of places where you can go online. I'll fold this back here and use the seam. A lot of websites where you can go online and get free paper piece patterns. When you download those patterns or go to print them, just make sure that your printer is set to get those at 100% so that they turn out to be the right size. So we're going to trim all the way around that. And there we have our quarter square block.